Before we sign off, I just want to say this has been a lot of fun.
It's This Week in Charles Bronson, a highly uncalled for news and pop culture program that revolves around one weirdo and his community's love of the late great action star. And we had a little time on our hands, so we're at the corner of Sutter and Belmont, wasting some creeps, tasting the fine cuisine like stuffed cabbage and chicken. Chicken's good. I like chicken. And chicken's care of Charlie's things till he gets back. That's right, it's November 1st, 1985. Ronald Reagan arrives to Geneva for a meeting with Gorbachev. Microsoft 1.0 is released. Webster and Mr. Belvedere are on TV, and if you stay up late, you get a little Halloween surprise with a movie called Midnight Hour, starring Shari Belafonte and Peter DeLuise and the guy from Reading Rainbow.
LeVar,
But but yes, LeVar Burton. But if you're one of the cool kids like Chris Manson, in other words, if you're old, you were at the movie theaters seeing Death Wish 3 starring Charles Bronson, uh, Gavin O'Herlihy, and Deborah Raffin. It's no Raffin matter, and of course Ed Lauder.
Ed Lauder.
And we're at the, like I said, the quarter of Sutter Belmont doing one of our long, it's been a long time since we did a Buczynski Boy roundtable. I got Chris, the man with the camera, Manson with me, or Manson with the camera. Check him out on substack.com. And we got David, Mr. Majestic Middleberg. And of course, we have the badass, the number one dadass, Brad Crane, Big Brad Crane, the original BBC. And of course, the teenage heartthrob is over there spinning the wax and taking your calls. And I have my son Noah is over here, and he's giving some kind of gang symbol. I think he's a street creep.
Well,
No,
we had a lot of openings in the club, in the gang since Charlie got to town.
you know, I watched the movie
Oh,
today
nice.
for the 4 millionth time. But when I watch a movie for this show, I swear to God, it doesn't matter how many times I see the movie. It's always a new, it's always a new experience because it's for the show and because I'm doing extra thinking. And I noticed this time around that our man Michael Winner, right? He is a storyteller. Am I right? Correct? And this is a tale of two cities. West Side Story, if you will. On one hand, you have the old people, diverse in race and religion, and the blue collar families also. And on the other side, you got the street thugs that are
Mm.
relentlessly torturing them. And lucky for them, Charles Bronson comes riding in on a bus at the beginning of the movie. It's kind which is a it was kind of a it's kind of a grim seeing him on the bus, Paul Kersey on the bus. Like, did you feel
Yeah.
like maybe he was down on his luck? Like maybe he wasn't making a lot of cash in the architect business around 1985. What did you guys think about his bus ride in?
No, I think that was his only option because he couldn't bring his arsenal, on the airplane.
Well, that is a good point. And where was he coming from? Do you think he was coming from LA or do you think he was just coming from another part of New York?
I'm not sure.
Right.
I don't think we're supposed to think too hard about that. I just think it's a really cool way of introducing Bronson. You've
Yeah.
got this music playing. You just got him sitting there looking awesome. You've got how long is that intro? 5 minutes or so? I mean,
It's
it,
pretty long, yeah. And you see some of New York, you see the bridge. What's great is at the bus station, there's a total callback to Death Wish 1 with the thugs, right?
right.
And Mr. Majestic, David Middleburg,
Yeah.
what did you think of that intro?
Oh, I love it. I think it's one of the coolest theme songs of any Bronson movie, period.
Yeah,
But
I like the way they used they used the music from Death Wish too, but they used it differently. So
but that
it
opening
didn't
theme,
seemed like a new soundtrack.
yeah,
They had
that
a
opening theme,
they had
no.
a guy arrange it, like another guy. Jimmy Page was not actually involved. They jazzed it up. That song was called Jam Sandwich on the soundtrack album.
And now
Oh, really?
something I noticed today that I didn't notice the 4 million times I watched it because I was never really looking for, you know, the director's vision or anything
Hmm.
before, but you get that you see the bus, it pulls into like one of the worst parts of New York. But before you see those awful streets, you get a shot of the trees, of the cherry blossoms, of something
Right.
Yeah.
beautiful. I know Michael Winters did that in Death Wish 1 too, I believe.
Mhm.
Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
Oh
He
yeah.
always like that. He does that in The Stone Killer as well. He'll show like a tree and then like he'll peel back and it's the city, which is, Skid Row possibly, but you'll see some pretty trees there for a minute.
Right.
Plus, he always shot a lot of coverage. I mean, he'd do like 27 setups for one scene.
One thing I like about that opening scene, I'm going to share a personal story from when I was probably 14 years old. I remember I got Death Wish 3 on VHS for Christmas. So it was the first VA. The reason I have that Death Wish 3 is the movie I watched the most is because it was the first movie I ever got of Charles Bronson. And I've since back in around the early 2000s, I think I sold my VHS on eBay. That's kind of sad. It makes me sad now, but I remember watching that opening sequence. Just picture this. Our family opened our presents on Christmas Eve. So we'd go to grandma's house, we'd open our presents Christmas Eve, and then we'd kind of hang around playing with our stuff or looking at our stuff, and then go to midnight mass. So we usually had about 4 hours or so before midnight mass. Brad Crane at 14 years old. I get Death Wish 3. Of course, I put it right in the VHS, and I'm watching that opening bus ride. And I remember specifically seeing written by Michael Edmonds on the screen come up. And I remember in my mind thinking, boy, this Michael Edmonds must be a genius to write something so good as Death Wish 3. And in my mind, I'm talking, I was serious as I could possibly be. There's no irony in anything I'm saying here.
Right.
It was only later in life that I found out that the actual writer, Don Jacoby, was so disappointed with all the changes to his script that he took his name off the movie.
Right.
And Michael Edmonds is really nobody.
But his name is on the DVD now or the Blu-ray.
It's on the previews. If you watch like the trailer,
That's right. But in the actual credits of the movie, he had it removed because he felt like it wasn't the story that he had written. So,
Well, like I said before, now my phone is ringing. That's a first during the
oh,
show.
and by the way, Brad, thank you for letting us know that Death Wish 3 is a Christmas movie.
Now, how did you come across how did you come about discovering it was a Christmas movie? Because I noticed today the menorah that kind of gave it away as maybe a Hanukkah movie or a holiday time movie. What did you see that gave it away as a Christmas movie?
Me?
No, Brad. You just said you just thanked Brad. Listen, are you drinking
well, it's
again?
because I watched
Oh,
it
then we
at
watched it on
Christmas.
Christmas Eve.
I
Oh, okay.
yeah, because I started my resentment list today, so I'm doing
I
okay.
watched that movie almost every day. Like, I would like bribe my sister. I think she might have got Dirty Dancing or something that same Christmas or something. I would say, look, I'll watch Dirty Dancing with you if you'll watch Death Wish 3 with me, because it'd be like 11 o'clock at night and I don't want to go to bed yet. And I just want to watch Death Wish 3. So I'd be bribing her and that kind of thing.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
No one puts Wildy in the corner.
Wildy, there you go.
Of course, no one remembers that movie. No.
Nobody.
Yeah.
So Charlie's friend is being attacked by Bill and Ted and the other gang members.
Bill S. Preston.
And I love how Michael Winters shows each family. You see like the Hispanic family, you see the black woman, you see the Jewish family, and I think there was another Jewish. I think was there two Jewish families? Like one of them was like German or something, but or Eastern European.
Mm.
And of course, he shows up just in time to get arrested for it. And right away you see a storyline or something that's beaten into the movie a million times, but that the cops are kind of worthless and you know bullies. They come in and right away assume that Charlie did it. So right away, right off bat, you're getting that message that you know the cops aren't doing their job correctly, and now Charlie has to take care of business.
So
I love how
they're in
I
a
love how
gang
the cop-
infest. Go ahead.
I just love how the cop looks at him and says, "Son of a bitch, killed him," and then they cuff him and take him away.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, they're in a gang infested area, and of course it's the guy wearing the sports jacket and the
Right.
button up shirt that they're immediately going to assume did the murder.
Yep,
Exactly.
he did it. Take him away.
But it's great though because then we meet Ed Lauder,
Yes.
Richard Schreiker, and I love it. Who's this dude? And we forget our first of another of symbolism. So not our first symbolism, but the first of the cockroach symbolism
Oh
in
yeah.
in the jail. You know, and you kind of like see that foreshadowing of what that, you know, you can almost, if you would have watched the movie as an adult and not a kid, you could have probably guessed that later in the movie someone was going to say that line or something near that line about the having to kill all the cockroaches, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
get all of them. You can't just get a couple. You got to get all of them.
Is there a cockroach wrangler in the end credits? Because I never looked for that.
you know that's a good question because I would think there would have to be somebody in charge of that. I mean, you know, maybe not. I bet nowadays they have to have somebody who takes care of that humanely.
You,
ASPCA on the set,
you,
man.
you think they just
Yeah.
use the same cockroach over and over again?
Yeah, well, it was a stunt, right? It was a stunt
That
cockroach.
guy.
A
So
stunt,
yeah,
a stunt roach.
Well, it
right.
looked to me like they just taped it up there because if you remember in that one scene, they show it, it's just kind of hanging there and its little legs and stuff are moving, but its body ain't going nowhere. So it's almost like it's just taped to the wall or
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
Oh, it looks real.
I'll have to look next time.
But
something.
I love how Fraker looks at him, you know, and right away he goes, like he's like a fan. He's like, and not Kimball, you're Kersey, Paul Kersey. I love that. And then of course, you know, this is my jail. I can violate your rights. And of course he gets thrown into a cell. And that's one of the coolest scenes when I was a kid. Like I saw this movie probably when I was 14. I had seen Evil That Men Do. I had seen the original Death Wish, and I think I had seen Rider on the Rain. And my friend's dad heard that I was obsessed with Bronson, and he was like, do you guys got to see this one, you know?" But he was like, "Oh man, I don't know if I should show you because it was hard and all that." So he sat there and fast forwarded through, you know, breasts, which, you know, nowadays who cares, right? But um, yeah, I love that scene when he put the guy's head through the bars.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
And,
that's classic.
and we get our first glimpse of Fraker. You know, you can tell that he's a leader, you know, he just kind of sits off in the corner. He always stays kind of cool under
Yeah.
pressure, you know?
It's cool when they're staring at each other. You know, you've got the
Uh-huh.
scene where they're just staring at each other, and Fraker doesn't like that, so he orders him to get beat up later, you know, a little bit later, but he can't
Right,
stand somebody else looking him in the eye.
right. And he says, and then when he gets out, he see, I got a lawyer.
Yeah.
Then he says that great line, tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna kill a little old lady just for you. Catch it on the
Catch him at
6 o'clock
6 o'clock
news.
news.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
I
what's
tried to
that?
post that on Facebook and I got kicked off.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, oh, they've been really bad lately.
Yeah,
I got
that's not
my
a good Facebook quote.
No, no.
I'm holding up my Buczynski brand. If you look up a gentleman by the name of Buczynski brand on Facebook, and for $5, you'll get this and a whole bunch. You'll get Death Wish 5 Pogs. I'm telling you, you get like $30 worth of stuff for $5, but this is one of them. I didn't put it on. I did, yeah, you get the Chado's Land
Yeah.
uh, door hanger. But I didn't put it on because Chris already did that on the sequels only. I don't like to rip off other podcasts. But
Well, one thing about Death Wish 3 that's another kind of a personal story is, you know, I really wasn't that involved in the world of like movies on social media until
mhm,
2021. And it
yeah.
just, I don't remember what I saw, but I saw a blurb somewhere where people were celebrating Charles Bronson's 100th birthday.
Mhm.
And they were doing like a hashtag Bronson 100. And they were calling it the
Right,
Bronson Centennial.
right.
And a couple of guys that are in our group, Doug and Chris Roush, Doug Dietz and Chris Roush, I saw because I think I might have already been following Doug on some stuff he was doing. I saw they were going to do a live movie tweet on Charles Bronson's 100th birthday of Death Wish 3.
Right.
And
But
so
there's a
I joined that.
podcast too. There's a
Yeah.
podcast that dropped for its first episode on the Bronze Centennial as well.
That's right. And so that's where
What podcast was that?
that's where I started discovering the world of social media and Bronson. And so I watched that podcast or I watched that live tweet that night. I met a lot of friends that I have now on social media on Twitter. And then I started looking for, other things, and that's where I found This Week in Charles
There you
Bronson with
go.
Eric
There
Todd.
you go. It took way too long to get to
Joined that, and it all goes back to the Death Wish 3 live tweet. Just kind of re-engaged me in the world of Bronson, and it hasn't stopped. So we're coming up on 3 years since
Right.
then. My son is getting married on November the 2nd. I kind of gave him a hard time, so I don't know why he couldn't have done it on November 3rd.
Yeah.
So, so we're coming up on 3 years of me being in this world of movie social media and this group, and it's really been a nice experience. And I mean, that's just another thing I can thank Death Wish 3 for.
Now I feel as though I saw Bronson 100 hashtagged everywhere, and I recall coming up with Bronze Centennial. But then I started seeing other people using it, and I thought, I don't want to say that they took it because, first of all, they're welcome to use it, but second of all, they might have just thought of it too because it's pretty, but I was pretty proud of myself when I thought of it. It doesn't mean I was the only person who thought of it.
It's all
See,
you, Eric.
I thought I was the only one who thought of that too.
Right, and maybe you did. Who the hell knows? Well, you thought of our daily lead, and you don't remember, and you don't remember that you thought of it.
Oh, that just came out of nowhere. It just came out of nowhere.
But next we meet Mrs. Biss Davis, which is actually my son's name of my son's teacher, but also the name of Deborah Raffin's character, and she's the what's that, public defender?
Yes.
Who also loves elderly men, I guess.
Hey, here's an interesting note about this movie. She would be the part-time lover, which was the #1 song the week that this movie debuted.
That's amazing.
Not by choice.
That's not a coincidence. You know what I mean?
She did not choose to be the part-time lover.
No, they could play the game.
He just had to check his mail. He just had to check his mail.
Yeah, that really, you know what?
What kind of man are you?
I don't want to jump ahead, but why does Paul Kersey make those subtle mistakes? You know what I mean? He should have known, like, during the 80s, the only more dangerous thing than sexually than AIDS was making love with Paul Kersey.
I
love how they do the close-up of their kiss.
Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, the close-up of that kiss was horrible.
Kiss of death right there. You knew it. You knew it.
He says, I'm just going to leave the car running and leave it in gear and unlocked while I check my mail in this terrible neighborhood.
Right. And then we have that meeting of the police officers where Raker says that great line, "This isn't a neighborhood, it's a war." And then he has that talk with Charles Paul Kersey.
Said Fraker.
What's that?
Striker. You mean Schreiker?
Did I say Fraker? I'm sorry. Schreiker. Well, yeah, Schreiker, Fraker. They got me confused.
Was on the payroll though.
Right. But I like when he takes Paul Kersey in the room. He says, "The truth is, I hate creeps too."
Yeah.
What do? You shoot him, right? I love that. And of course,
Mr. Vigilante.
Yeah. No more Mr. Vigilante. Yeah. Like he just owns up to it, right? Instead of being like, no, that's not me. He's just like, look, those days are past. I'm no more Mr. Like, there's no, like, he's not gonna get any trouble or anything. You think there's, what if I know I don't believe in Bronson lookalikes and all that crap. But what about if someone was to write fan fiction of his time in Kansas City and Chicago that Stryker talks about? That would be kind of cool.
Let's do
right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
I'm
cool.
still working on my novelization of Death Wish 4: The Crackdown.
Yes. But this one doesn't have a name. It's just Death Wish 3. There's no Death Wish 3, the anything.
Well, that would be Death Wish 2.5, the Kansas City Connection or whatever.
And then right after they make that alliance, and you guys, jump in there if I miss anything or whatever. We meet Chaco and Hector, and they're taking care of business. Am I right? And they welcome him back, and he does it that sticky. We mentioned it earlier, but that this is a sticker, and you're the sticky.
Sticky.
I think that's one of the worst bad guy heavy lines. I just think it's cool. I think it's just he could have said something cooler there, but I don't know what. I just even when I was a kid, I thought that's kind of lame. Anybody got thoughts on that line? Or it was a good scene.
I don't think Fraker wanted to waste one of his prime lines on this kid.
Was that
He
what it
wasn't
was?
worth it.
He wasn't worth a good line.
But Michael Edmonds could have done better.
Right.
His other movies are much better written, but
hmm Now, and now we jump back to the police station where Paul Kersey denies legal representation from Deborah Raffin. This is straight from my Death Wish 3 press kit.
you can just hold that up the whole time. I'd be fine with it.
I love those big glasses that she wears to make her look smart. That's in the 80s, that's all you needed in a film to be like the nerd or the smart person.
I
And you
don't think the costuming was too great in this movie in some ways when it comes to like Deborah. I mean, she's a beautiful woman, but the
Right.
way and I'm not really sure why. I don't know if they're just trying to make her look more like a working class because she's in this area where she is, but they don't go out of their way to make her look, as beautiful as she really is.
Well, they don't go out of their way to make Paul Kersey look very cool either. I
Yeah,
mean,
he looks
okay,
like he's
bud.
97 in the whole
Say
movie.
goodbye, buddy. Here, Noah, my son has to make his appearance. There he is.
What are
Hey,
your thoughts?
Noah.
Love
What are
you,
your
bud.
thoughts on the movie, sir?
Noah, what do you think about Death Wish 3? You watched the scene where he shot the guy stealing his car. What did you think? Come here, say something into the microphone. Did you guys hear that? He said, it's cool. I love you, bud.
Later on.
But yeah, I would let him watch that scene. Well, we're gonna get to that because that's my favorite scene of the whole movie. And afterwards I was like, what is wrong with me? No, please shut the door all the way, bud.
You enjoy it when someone sends a good message. I can't blame you for that.
I'm watching
If
my
it's a good
Phillies.
message.
I'm watching my Phillies as this is going on, and it is not good. It is not good. Brad, you live down in Arkansas. You don't care about baseball, do you?
Well, I don't really care about as much as I used to, but my football isn't going very well, so who knows at
Yeah.
this point. I'm
Yeah,
kind of tired of sports.
you're in one of those you're in one of those like college, high school football states, right?
Yeah, we don't have a pro team in Arkansas.
NFL sucks anymore anyway.
Yeah,
It
we
does.
don't have sports or color where I live.
Oh, God. Yeah, I know. I see that.
I know that isn't true.
I kind of like you in black and white, Chris. Now,
Hey, about Deborah Raffin. This is
yeah, no rap matter.
she didn't invent audiobooks, but her and her husband started the first company that specifically put out books on tape,
That's really cool.
Interesting.
And she died young, didn't she?
just so she could get work.
She died so she could get work?
No, started the audiobooks.
Okay.
Is she dead?
Honey, once you pass 40 as an actress, I don't,
Is she still alive?
I believe Deborah passed on,
I
and
don't think she's with us
there's
anymore.
reason. Let me look. I don't want to. I don't
Thank
want to
God
say.
Kay Lenz is still with us.
I don't want to. Yeah, we should try to get her.
I'm trying, buddy. I'm trying.
You work on that. I have some news. I'm not going to say the guy's name, but we are potentially going to have our oldest guest pretty soon.
Oh, nice.
She died about 12 years ago.
Yeah, she did die in 2012.
She was only 59. Good
Yeah, I'm
God.
trying to see what
Damn.
she died of because I think.
Goddamn leukemia, man.
That's right. Okay, so she wasn't one of the. I think I don't want to.
Let me just see who that is. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Oh, I hope this is a surprise for the show.
It's
It's one of Manson's bitches. It looks like Manson rents a room in his grandmom's house.
it's Kay Lenz.
Yeah, for the time being, Anyway.
Oh yeah, Angela Featherstone's supposed to come in here in a
Oh,
minute.
holy crap.
Is she? Is she? Okay. So then
Well,
we see Paul Kersey walking the
Dan came over
streets.
last night, so
Yeah, we see Paul Kersey walking the streets, and that's a really cool. Like he looks cool walking them streets, like there's no fear, and it's the worst neighborhood I've ever seen in a movie in my life.
That's right. His collar's up, his hair's blowing,
Yeah, he
he
don't give
just
a
very
shit. He
casual.
doesn't.
He don't give a crap.
Yeah, and then we meet the giggler for the first time,
oh, the big one.
right? And we see that he runs fast, and then we meet Alex Winter, a very white guy with blonde hair named Hermosa.
Of course.
And Charles Bronson hits him with one of two crowbars that just happen to be lying around during the movie.
Right.
I'm a big fan of the crowbar just popping up for no apparent reason.
That's like a Looney Tunes trope.
Yeah,
What do
it's,
you think?
Anvil
What do you think
happens to
about?
be right there.
What do you think about Alex Winter's first lines in the movie?
Classic.
isn't it when he's saying that he wants to
Can we repeat
yeah.
I'm,
here,
I'm
bitch, I wanna
quoting
eat
here. I'm
Yeah.
quoting here, so I'm not really
yes,
cussing
I
because I'm
want
quoting.
to.
Okay.
Come here, bitch. I want to eat you.
Now, did you really just protect yourself by saying, "Now listen, I'm quoting, so I'm not
I'm
really cussing"?
quoting.
He did.
On the network TV version, it was young lady, come here. Would you like some ice cream?
You know what I thought? This is how weird my brain is. When he said that line, I thought, what if she was like, okay,
Yeah, right.
would he freak out? And would it happen right there? I don't know. Let's not talk about
Well,
it.
you see what she was married to. I mean, she's quite looking.
Yeah. Well,
Well, and that's also is her name Marina Sirtis?
yes.
Yeah, she was on Star
Mhm.
Trek.
And very popular, kind of a cult following, very popular in that world. Very
Yeah.
beautiful woman.
Now, her husband in the movie, Joe Gonzalez, is that his name? He was, and
Joseph Gonzalez.
IMDb had him way down in the credits, and they had the wrong picture there. It's very, very, IMDb sucks. I'm not a fan of it.
He's
And
a very nice guy. I don't know if y'all have
he
seen
is,
him
yes.
interviewed by some of our friends.
I
And
have. I've seen him interviewed by who you mentioned earlier, the
yeah,
sequels only gentleman.
that's right. And
You know what I mean?
he has replied back to me on Twitter posts and different
Yes,
things.
me too.
Just a
I
really
was gonna
nice
ask
guy.
him. I would ask him to do the show,
Oh,
but
wow.
those guys already had them. Like, I'm not trying to do somebody else's program. In fact, I did it. I put off Death Wish 3 for so long because I feel like it's one that a lot of people did, and I wanted this show to be different. You know what I mean? Not that nothing against the other shows. You know what I mean? Those guys,
Big stock.
and I actually plan on making this a two-parter because I have so many people that want to talk about Death Wish 3. So I would like to get Chris Rauch and my buddy who's a police officer who's a huge Stryker and Paul Kersey fan. So,
Police.
but then we meet. Yeah, I'm friends with a police officer, Manson. It's okay.
Is he in the program?
No, he's not in the program, Manson. He um then we meet Bennett, Martin Balsam. And you know it's Bennett because there's a B on his hat.
Of course.
They didn't like him, the bastards. Remember that line?
Yeah.
And then he shows him who did it, and then he shows him Fraker.
Yeah.
Looks like he could just go up and smash him in the face. Don't it? I like Bennett. Bennett's, this movie, I have it written down later, but I'm going to say it now. This movie, and I only wrote Joseph Gonzalez and Louder. I forgot Martin Balsam. This movie, Paul Kersey takes up some allies. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I don't think you see that in any of the other Death Wish movies, do you?
Four, he's pretty much a lone wolf.
Yeah, he's a lone wolf. You only know four is your.
He's got the little girl with him toward the end, but she's not really helping.
Not
Wouldn't it be
exactly
great?
helping him clean the streets.
That would have been great if she helped out.
Yeah. I
Oh,
like the
God.
scene where, the scene you're referencing there, where Martin Balsam, they're looking down on that horrible neighborhood, and you can just see. I think there's crimes being committed while they're watching it, and he says he's been gone away. I don't know where, and then they pan to Charles, and he's like, I know where he's been. He doesn't say it, but we all know where he's been. I always like that scene.
Yeah. It's a great movie. It's you know what? Let's cut the bullshit here. It you can laugh at it because it's so comically and cartoonishly violent. But the older I get, the more mature I become, the more beauty I see in this movie. This movie is so beautiful. It's Michael Winner and Charles Bronson's last film together, and I can feel Michael Winner behind the camera going to the critics. Just give it. For anybody listening, I'm giving two fingers up. I mean, Michael Winner was just like, let's give it to them. Let's freaking go out with a bang. And Manson, you're a big Death Wish 4 fan, as am I. And sometimes, and some days, some weeks, I choose that above Death Wish 3. But I mean, is there anything better? If this was the last one, it would have been fine,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
3 and 4 are the fun movies in the series. 5 has some moments of levity. It's pretty dark.
And now
Yeah.
earlier I said that Michael Winner's a storyteller, and because every couple of lines here I have written down "we meet." I never realized how well wrapped up and presented to you this movie was. Like you meet each character, just you know what I mean. And it
Yeah.
felt like it was a half an hour long today, which I mean that in the best way. Like it just like flew by. I was just like,
Right.
wow, that was such a beautiful experience. But we
I
meet.
don't think Charles Bronson looks. I mean, maybe some of this is colored now by, being adult and kind of knowing some of the behind the scenes stuff.
Uh-huh.
But Charles Bronson looks tired in this movie at times.
He doesn't look like he's having fun. A
Yeah.
friend of mine, when I was young, when we were watching Death Wish 4, he
Awesome
said,
pick.
he said, he said he looks bored. But I really feel like this movie, he looks bored. And I've read interviews from the set of this movie, which whether or not they're real or if it's written by, where he was in the dressing room and he said, I'm tired of killing people. So he might have been a little like, yeah, he does look a little tired in this movie. I feel like he
Right.
looks older in this movie than he does in some other movies from that era. There's a
Right.
lot of close-ups on his face.
Yeah, I don't think he looks as good physically in this movie. I remember even when I was younger, I remember thinking that, and 'cause I don't know exactly what was going on. I don't know if Jill was going through anything at this time when this was being filmed or
Hmm.
anything, but I always remember thinking I thought he looked better like in Murphy's Law, his next,
Hmm.
one of his next movies. I thought he looked better, like more fit, more energetic and stuff in Murphy's Law than I did Death Wish 3.
Well, there is a scene where she was diagnosed with cancer in 1984, so that might have been a really bad time.
This is right when it was filmed. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what
it
I'm
would have been it
thinking.
would have been filmed in 1984. Yeah, so um, but there is a scene where he's in this tighter shirt, and you could tell he still had muscles and stuff, which is pretty
Hmm.
amazing considering 21, 31, 41, 51, 61, 70. That's how I do math. 81.
Yeah.
He was like 63. So
Yeah. Yeah.
63.
now we meet Maria and Rodriguez. We learn about the giggler. Like we met the giggler, but now we like learn about him. He laughs when he runs. He's the
Yeah.
fastest guy out there. And then we meet Maria and Rodriguez, and they have the most stereotypical Mexican apartment I've ever seen. There's a sombrero on the wall.
Oh, Speedy Gonzalez.
And then and then we hear that Willie's is coming. Willie is coming. And then he tells Bennett, this is my problem. But Mr. Majestic Middleburg,
Yes.
have you heard, and I believe this might be a Paul Talbot thing. Paul, if I'm talking out of school, I'm sorry. But has anybody, I'm going to address this to Mitt because I don't know if Mitt heard of the Jane Chill theory. That that Jane Chill from Death Wish 1 is mailing these guns to Paul Kersey. Have you ever heard that from anyone before? I believe it was a Paul Talbot theory, I think.
No, I never heard it, but man, it would make sense because where else would he be getting these things from?
Right, like rocket launchers and shit.
Yeah. And
I
that
love that
hand
he buys.
cannon Wildy? I mean, where
I
are you gonna
love that
get
he.
that from?
I love that he buys a rocket launcher,
Yeah. Mail order.
and then he
It's
buys
kind
a
of
bait. He buys a bait car, and they parks the bait car, he smells something good cooking.
So,
Basically invites himself to the Caprovs for dinner.
Yes.
I could relate to Kersey in that scene.
And he does something that I only recall seeing in Meet Me in St. Louis. He goes upstairs and gets dressed for dinner into a suit, like they used to in the old movies, like in the 30s.
Can I freshen up
Like,
first?
that wasn't an 80s thing.
And that is my favorite scene because the guys try to steal his car. They're ripping the car apart.
They
And
want that radio.
he takes the handkerchief, excuse me, and he goes outside. What's going on? We're stealing this car. What's it to you? It's my car.
My car.
Then you're gonna have to die. He just takes out a revolver and blows them both away. Walks back into the house, sits down and starts to have dinner again. But not until he says to Bennett, who we see here in my Death Wish 3, being held back after his
My shop.
he says, I sent them a message, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh my God, I love that.
Before
That's my favorite scene.
You know,
Before we leave that scene of him getting in the suit, I watched the movie The Naked Gun last night. Of course, it takes all these movie things and blows them way up and over dramatizes them to the point of parody. And it reminded me of that because when he first meets Priscilla Presley, and everything's getting pretty heated in there, he goes, "I want to slip into something more comfortable."
Yeah.
And the next scene, he's tightening his tie. He's put on a suit.
Right.
So he slipped into something more comfortable by putting on a suit. So
Yeah.
Hey,
I
Brad,
love
did
that.
you hear they're remaking The Naked Gun?
oh no.
I have seen that. I think with Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson is going to be playing Frank Drebin.
I'm going to have to see how that. I'm not so sure about that, David. I like Liam Neeson, but I'm just not so sure that he can. I'll be impressed if he can pull that off.
Yeah, I'm going to go see that one for sure. I have to.
Yeah, that piques my curiosity, but I don't understand why that would be done. Like it's unnecessary. The original when the original is that good, there's no reason. It's still funny. Like I don't
Yeah.
understand, but whatever. Guys aren't pussies, are they, Stern?
Stay away from the Death Wish movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they should, but they already treaded there. I don't want to
Well,
talk about
I'll give Bruce Willis. I'll cut him some slack for that.
Danny, cut that out.
It wasn't bad.
Make sure that winds up on the editing room floor.
Before we leave the Caprovs, I was a little dismayed that Percy didn't wash his hands before he sat back down at the table.
Yeah. Did you just call him Percy?
Percy.
I think he said Percy.
Paul Percy.
What was call Percy?
Paul Percy.
Just a little gun residue.
I kinda
That would mess
jumped-
up your
I'm
stuff,
sorry,
Cabbage.
Paul Kimball. Paul Kimball.
So I jumped ahead there when I said you guys aren't pussy, are they, Stern? Because before that is when Breakers has hurt him and they attack that guy with the axe, but the one guy's got
Yeah.
a plunger. That's my favorite.
Yeah, the plunger guy. I think we all need to stop for just a moment and pay
Moment of-
homage to the
Mhm.
type of gang where someone would stop and pick up a plunger after
Right.
someone's been hatcheted to death.
I'm going to assume he's dead, so a moment of silence for him.
Hey, but he looks happy that he's holding the plunger.
They look so happy when they run away, but they just killed a guy. Like what they
Yeah.
look like they won like a big teddy bear at the carnival or something.
One of my movie friends that joins us on our live tweets, she's a lady named Lisa Marie Bowman, and her and I kind of, connected on that Death Wish 3 live tweet because she brought up she had taken a picture of the guy with the plunger and tweeted it and shared a picture. She was so impressed with the plunger guy.
She
And from that
she
point
likes a
forward, I
lot of
thought
our
he's
stuff.
the greatest.
I recognize that name. I think we might have, I don't know, do you call it friending or follow each other now? But I know
you've been on a couple live tweets.
Oh,
She
yeah.
has her own website, and
Mhm.
she loves the movies. Like she really loves From Noon Till 3 and 10 to Midnight. So if we ever do one of those, we might want to invite her on. She's very knowledgeable in the
We
world.
should have a female on, and we really should do from noon to
Mhm.
3 because that's an interesting one.
Any chick that likes 10 to midnight is a keeper.
My wife, let me tell you about a keeper. My wife didn't even know who Charles Bronson was, but she knew the movie 10 to Midnight, and she has loved that movie since she was a
Oh,
teenager. And so I've introduced her to Charles Bronson. But when I told her he was the guy from 10 to Midnight, she loves 10 to Midnight.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good
and
woman.
she found out Bronson wasn't the naked guy.
Right. We have to get him still.
Good
So
luck.
Bronson punches Tulio, who's played by Tony Britz, who is a from Ghana, believe it or not, and I believe he was born in Ghana, and I think he wound up in England. And he has a sad story. He died young of AIDS, but he had workout videos that you can find on YouTube. It's pretty interesting. He had a little bit of a career with workout videos and a couple of acting roles, but sadly passed away from AIDS. Then we meet the other Jewish family, and
I'm sorry, which guy was the one you were just talking about? Who did he play?
Julio, he
He's a
says,
real cool black guy. He's always like, anytime.
Oh yeah, okay.
He
yeah.
wants to steal something anytime.
Isn't he the guy who
Either give me $5,
give me yeah, let me $5, man.
$5, man.
protection
Yeah.
from creeps.
Protection from creeps, yeah.
You're the creep.
And then Bronson or Paul Kersey gets the call from Fraker, gets a little threat from him. He ain't scared.
How did he?
And then he notices the footprints in his apartment. And that's when Paul Kersey all of a sudden becomes MacGyver. We've never seen this in a Bronson film, in a Death Wish film before, but this is where this contraption that he sets up with the nails through the board, that was his first step towards exploding wine bottles,
Yeah.
exploding soccer balls.
That's right.
So he became
Poison
MacGyver.
cannoli.
He has another meeting with Stryker. Blink, blink,
Beep,
blink,
beep,
blink.
beep, beep.
And it's synced to the music if you watch
Yes, it's
Oh,
very
yeah.
strange.
I
And,
feel like Kersey was being pretty selfish right here. Why
Right.
couldn't he just get the dang cops a couple of busts?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's
Well,
sitting there,
yeah.
he knows what's going on. He's being all about himself. The cops just want a couple of busts so they can
Take a
grab
couple days
of
off.
headlines, and he just blows them off.
What if he took a couple of days off and it was in the film? What if the film was 4 hours because there was 2 hours of him just chilling? Like, I really wanted to see the inside of that bar. It had like the lady outside.
Davis out in the country at
Yeah, go out. No, don't go to the country. Go to that
eating
bar.
chicken,
Try some food. Yeah.
watching opera.
So then we see the guy who stepped on the nails. Shit, man, I'm hurt.
Yeah.
Shit, Matt, I'm hurt.
And then the next
A good
scene,
Edmonds line.
is, give me some money, woman. And that woman, that old lady who beats the guy with her purse, that's Bertie McHale. That woman's in Coming to America. She's in a number of movies, and most recently, before passing away, she was on an episode of Law and Order, I believe SVU. But she basically made a career of playing that little old black lady. That like she pretty much played that character and everything. And I just thought that was interesting. I thought that was neat.
That's
Bertie McHale. She
There's
looks
some
like a
pretty
Bertie
bad
McHale.
dubbing there. There's some pretty
Oh,
bad
she's-
dubbing there. I mean, it's pretty
Oh,
good that she's
she was one of
slapping
the-
him, but there's some pretty bad dubbing right there.
Most of the
Yeah.
actors were British actors because they filmed
Yes.
in England, so they had to overdub most of those people.
Yeah.
I wonder if Bertie McHale was English.
No.
No, you know this?
Well, I know from Law and Order. I mean, I'm a great fan of that episode you're talking about.
I'm sorry, Bertie M. Hale, not Bertie
Hey,
McHale.
Higgins? Yes.
She was in
Hey,
Die Hard. She was in a Die Hard with a Vengeance. Juice.
Oh, good picture.
She died in 2009. She was
I'm
born in
tired of you creeps. I like that line. I'm tired of you creeps.
That's the creep
She-
that stole my purse.
She died 3 years short of turning 100.
Oh, nice.
Kind of like the Aunt Esther of this movie.
But if you look at the role she plays, it says like old black woman, Goldie. They always give her like she's Birdie. Every movie gives her everything she's in. She's either Goldie or Schmurdy or
Well,
something.
that you can kind of see that as a throwback to the woman that attacked the mugger with her hat pin in Death Wish.
Yes,
Original
I
Death
did-
Wish, she had the little old lady that she'd gone on being 227, that show 227, but she's, I attacked him with my hat pin. You know what a hat pin is, don't you? She's like the hat pin lady.
I didn't think about that.
They
But
just have to
there.
have a full film crew out there to film that whole thing.
Oh, I
I
know they
like
had.
that too.
Yeah, I know, and they're
Construction
watching.
site, they're chasing them at the construction site, beating them up.
And now we see the very young Miss Davis shows up into the worst, comes to the worst neighborhood on earth
Hold up the picture.
to ask an elderly man out, even though he's wearing the ugliest brown sweater. I mean, there was horrible wardrobe for this movie.
Oh, what is with that brown sweater? I
You,
think I'm stealing that question directly from Paul Talbot's book. What is it with that brown
yeah,
sweater?
that is true. That was the big. He actually made me realize like how bad. So yeah, we're stealing from you, Paul.
Gene Siskel paid $5,000 for that. No, that was John Travolta's suit from Saturday Night Fever. Sorry.
And then we see that the cops are worthless yet again. They're of all the things they have to do, they're going to take Mr. Kaprov's gun, his only sign of defense.
They're very tough with the Kaprovs. They're not too tough with the thugs and the creeps,
Oh,
but they're really tough with Mr. Kaprov.
What do you think of that, Majestic? Are you there with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Why are they so tough on the Kaprovs? Do you think that the cops are anti-Semitic in this film?
No, I just think, well, I don't know. I always thought that one of the gang members called to get the gun taken away so they could just go and rob him easier again. That's all. That's what I thought.
Yeah, but why did the cops know that neighborhood?
Yeah,
And they're
I
going to
don't know.
take. I think some of the cops were on the take.
Probably.
Breaker had money. He had a lawyer.
Yeah.
Lawyer.
He did have a lawyer.
Now I have written
See?
down here. I have written down
2 more
here
hours in this shithole.
in parentheses. I wrote off spin-off Kaprovs. I was thinking there could have been a TV show, the
That
Kaprovs,
would
that
have been a
came from
great
this movie.
sitcom.
Yeah, it would have been a
Yeah.
great sitcom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the hairpiece, obviously, for Mr. Kaprov.
Mm-hmm.
You should have taken them to wherever their temporary housing was, since the building had been blown up, basically. So they'd had to go off to some temporary housing, but I could see, some fun-filled episodes full of nice dining choices.
Yeah, I could too.
The little lady had a very, very welcoming voice. I mean, I felt like I would have been right at home having dinner with the Capros. I think she would have wanted me there.
Speaking of Mrs. Kaprov, let's see. She was in a lot of things as well. I believe she looked familiar.
It's Mr. Kirsty. She's killing the creeps.
He's killing the creeps.
Killing
Her-
the creeps. I think the director was anti-Semitic.
No,
No.
it could be. Hannah Maria Pravda is her real name. Hannah Maria Pravda. Let's see. Hannah Maria live
She had a great voice and a nice laugh.
live research right here. Well, she goes back 1916. She was born in Prague, Czechia. She lived from 1916 to 2008. So she almost lived to be. She died at 92. Um, her personal life. I'm interested in her personal life because I'm wondering what happened during World War II in her life. It doesn't say anything about possibly, being I mean, she was alive during World War II, and she was from Czech. I don't know. Forget it. Forget everything I'm saying. She's in a lot of things, but nothing I've ever heard of besides Death Wish 3. She's
Well, a
in
lot of porn.
something called And Soon the Darkness. I like the name of that.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah,
That
Yeah.
was Tom Byron was in that.
it's a good name. And Soon the Darkness with Pamela Franklin, Michelle Dutrice, and Sandor.
Is that a
Oh.
Hammer movie?
No, it's directed by Robert Fust. It's the plot. Let's do the plot. Jane and Kathy are two young nurses from Nottingham who are taking a cycling holiday through rural France. Yeah, I think she's in European movies mostly. I think, yeah, she's not Hungarian, Austrian.
I would totally watch that if it was directed by Andy Sedaris.
Well, yeah, I was thinking if Andy Sedaris directed this, Deborah Raffin's character would have
Oh,
been maybe
yeah,
in like a
really.
leopard G-string or something when she showed up at the
A lot
house.
more.
So
I think I'll
MacGyver,
take it the Michael Winner version. I mean, as much as Listen, Andy Sedaris has his shtick, but I'm pretty glad Charles Bronson was never part of his universe.
Yeah, I know.
It's
But
true.
Andy Sedaris wouldn't even had Bronson. He would have had some like young, like muscle bound guy.
That's right.
A true
So
OG.
MacGyver returns by making that thing that that contraption that he explained the thing that flies up and hits the guy in the face.
Yeah.
Knocks out
He
his teeth.
explains how he hits the nail and the nail goes up, but I never understood that.
I don't understand
He-
that
he-
either. I don't understand the mechanics of that.
Physics
Yeah.
of it. Wile E. Coyote would have had a blueprint and a drawing.
Yeah, I don't see how that nail went up. It was
I
I don't
nailed
know.
into the thing.
I don't get it. I've never got it. But you mentioned Miss Caproff. One of my favorite moments of hers in that entire movie is her giggle after
Yeah.
that thing goes
Her little
up.
smile and her laugh. Yeah.
Just, you
She
know,
was
she
very
just giggles.
violence against creeps made her very angry, very happy. I mean, and then Cuba's going to make a house call. Or did I get that in the wrong spot?
The Cuban's going to get high, buddy.
Cuba's
High,
going to
high,
get
high.
high. That's right. He's going to get high.
He doesn't want no needles though. No needles.
Right. Well, he's
Don't do
very
it, man.
responsible. He's very responsible. I like Cuba. You know, one of the guys I wish could have lived. I think it would have been him.
He was in Full Metal Jacket, right? He's one of the guys that was in Full Metal
The
Jacket.
Giggler was in Full Metal Jacket. I
Oh,
know
Giggler.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, he is.
I just think Fraker's too insecure there because Cuban here he's trying to set his boundaries. He's trying to say, "Hey, no needles, man." And then Fraker has to insert his dominance there by saying, "Hey, if I want you to do this, you'll do it. But right now, I just want you to do." I'm like, Fraker, let the guy have his boundaries. Let him feel like a man.
I'm
Does he
beginning to
really
think this
have to be
Fraker.
so insecure all
No,
the time.
it's a character defect for Fraker. I mean,
I'm beginning to think that Fraker's some kind of jerk.
yeah.
Listen, he's a sticker. I mean, he always has to be the sticker.
Right.
Always.
Can
can't
he
be
never be the
sticker
sticker?
one
Can
time.
somebody else be the sticker in his
What
life
if-
ever?
What if Charlie's friend who came to town wasn't Paul Kersey, but a therapist?
Mm-hmm.
Who sat these guys down and listened to them, to their needs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Violence is not the answer.
He's the typical guy sticker. He's like, okay, yeah, he has to be better than everybody else. But then at the end, what's he doing? He's just copying off Kersey in his bulletproof jacket. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're the sticker, you don't need to copy off someone else. Be you.
He always has to be in charge. It's like, and he doesn't have to participate in the rape. It's like he just has to get in there, though. He has to be in there with everybody else.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
He
None
has-
of that's happening without his
He has to make
blessing.
a phone call to the old man who threw him out of the store.
Right.
He
Now,
can't-
now we come across another splendid Kaprov meal. I don't believe they told you what it was, but it looked almost like a goulash. What would you say that was, Middleburg? A goulash?
No clue. No clue.
I'm going to say beef goulash. And during that meal is when the contraption goes up in the window and we get the line, what are they? Teeth. And the teeth, the whole teeth are on there, like the roots and everything. It was very bizarre looking.
It's like a professional.
I've had several. There's been a couple times I've had teeth injuries, like in basketball and stuff, and they're never quite as neat looking as that. Like I've had a tooth broken in half. I've had a tooth knocked out.
Right.
They never looked as cool. There's always a lot more blood, a lot more pain.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't sticking in a board or anything, like the floor or anything. So
I need to rewatch that because I believe the root part was sticking into the board
Yeah.
somehow. I don't know how that happened.
I'm not sure how
Like
that
the
works.
top of the tooth was on the board and the
Right.
root on the other side.
Yeah.
But
Okay, guess who shows up next?
I'm no dentist. I don't know if that's possible or not.
Right. You're an accountant.
That's right.
You crunch the numbers
but spared no
for the dentist.
That's right. I have dentist clients.
Guess who shows up finally?
Wildy.
Wildy arrives from Brookfield, Connecticut. Now, I never noticed how much that was product placement before. I didn't think they tried selling guns in movies. But Mike Malloy sent me an article about it, and there's actually a book called Wildy's Here. And Mike Malloy will be on to discuss that. And I believe around the same time, Clint Eastwood was marketing a gun in his movie. I think it might have been
Sudden Impact.
Sudden
Sudden
Impact.
Impact,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sudden Impact had the whatever
Automag.
Automag.
We say goodbye to Maria. Poor Maria. It's a very uncomfortable scene. Unnecessary.
It's just a broken arm.
It was just a broken arm, we thought, but she has expired. Which
Expired,
I've
yeah.
never heard anybody say that before until that time, and I never have since. Has anybody?
No.
Now,
One thing about that scene that I find interesting is
her breasts.
they apparently show, they filmed a horrific breaking of the arm, like
Mhm.
that they ended up not using for the movie, but they filmed it.
Wow.
And so I'm kind of glad they did not include that in the movie, but apparently it was an extremely graphic shot of them breaking her arm, which I think would explain more why possibly, because it was, from what I've read, it was so horrific looking that it might actually explain more how she might have died from just a broken arm.
Now, I really felt for Rodriguez in that scene, and I think the audience did too. And I feel like that was meant to really set the tone now, like kind of
Thought his
like
overacting was
it
superb.
was a little overacting, but I mean, I think the audience felt it. I felt it, and I think that was kind of like the "this means war" kind of sex, um, message there.
Right.
And then one thing that I thought was really cool when I was a kid was what happens next is you see Bronson making his own bullets. I
Mm.
thought that was cool, and he says, "Nothing's too good for our friends."
Mm-hmm.
I
I
thought that was I thought that was really good.
The first Exterminator movie was that bullet,
Mhm.
where Robert Ginty was making the bullets.
Really?
I love The Exterminator.
Only an Exterminator is about 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
And then
I
of
like
course,
that he had a little machine that pressed the bullet head down or whatever. It's like
right.
he filled it up and then pressed it down
Where
there.
did he get
Always
that? Did
thought
that come
looked
in the
cool.
mail? Did that come in the mail?
Probably
It's
had in his suitcase.
I bet
Ain't-
Charlie had that. Charlie had that laying around the apartment.
Charlie
He
had
had like some military stuff.
Mm.
Then he goes out for ice cream
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
with Wildy. Takes Wildy for his first walk.
And a camera.
Hey,
Takes his time and a Nikon camera.
This
Oh,
is
takes his
America.
time.
This is
Isn't it?
America, Eric. Can Paul Kersey not get ice cream if he's hungry?
That's right. This is America,
I mean,
isn't it?
where are we? I mean, if we can't do it in America, where can you
Yeah,
get
go
your
out.
ice cream?
Get a nice
Exactly.
too. So
And then as the giggler ran away, he really takes his time taking that gun out. And the giggler's like 5 blocks away. And bang. And puts the hole in his back. And everyone comes to the window cheering.
Oh yeah.
And there's a
Hey,
scene.
it's that creep that stole my pocketbook 3 weeks ago.
yeah.
All right.
All right, all right. So,
Of course, should be punishable by death.
now, well, let's just now backtrack. Bennett does tell Paul Kersey that the giggler killed a girl.
Oh,
A
that's
couple.
Put a knife in her skull.
Right, because or else 2024 you might go, well, that's a little extreme punishment for stealing a purse, But
Well, it's kind of the world we're living in. We've talked about this before, Eric. I know you and I have. I mean, just throwing rocks at the building was a death sentence in that world.
yes.
If you were standing outside throwing rocks at the building, machine guns could be in your future at any time.
Right.
If you stole Bronson's 8-track player out of his car. No, we should have Michael Edmonds on here and ask him about that.
We will.
I want to
And
know
then,
how deep he was taking this.
I'll look him up. And then we have the gentleman, I forget which character it is, but they killed the giggler, man. They
Killed the giggler.
Should have done that.
He was good.
And
Had
of
no
course,
business doing that.
yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, they had no business doing that. Then Stryker shows up to see the body. Christ, there's not much left of him, is there? I love that.
Not much left of this sucker.
And then that one dorky cop's like, he's like, how's things around here? Oh, great. I feel more relaxed.
Yeah.
He says, I feel more standing over the dead body. I feel more relaxed.
Our community work is really paying off here.
Then we have the most boring love scene. The date with Deborah Raffin, Miss Davis, or as I call it, halftime. You get up. He's
That's
having
why-
chicken. You get up to make some chicken wings in the microwave.
That's why you need Sedaris directing that.
Right. And then we meet Cuba. And Cuba is, Cuba again. Cuba's going to kill tonight.
I
Right?
love that line.
Now, I don't know why Fraker gave the kill of Paul Kersey to Cuba, but he does. And I love that scene. I love that scene. It's a cat and mouse, just oozes. He finds a crowbar again, knocks the guy off the building, finds Wildy again. It's just everything's full circle there. Beautiful.
Did anybody else get mad when you first saw Death Wish 3 and when he's running and he loses Wildy? Did you ever think that he was going to really find it? I never thought he was.
Yeah, that was it was tough. I
Yeah.
didn't really breathe until he found Wildy again. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It was a nice full circle moment whenever he bends down after all that and finds Wildy, and because I
Brushes it
honestly
off.
there's
Yeah.
just like I don't understand how the nail in the window caused the board to come up. I
Right.
also don't understand the geographics of where Fraker was shooting at Bronson,
Right.
because
Right.
Bronson would run a Fraker wouldn't move. Bronson would run around a corner. Fraker would shoot again. Those machine gun bullets would be like right on his head.
They're all
Bronson
wild.
would go around another corner. Fraker would still be standing in the same place shooting at him. And there's, I don't know how he was doing that. I still don't get the geographics of that scene.
No. But you know what my friend would say? It's best not to think about it.
Yeah.
True.
Stryker shows up again. We get the whole roach scenario again. It's like we're killing roaches. You got to kill them all. That's what Charles Bronson's, Paul Kersey says. He's really, he's becoming really overzealous. It's like you got to kill them all. Like, chill out. Like there's a lady there. There's a guy with the plunger. There's a couple of people that might be, that's the town plumber probably.
Well, Eric, you're starting to sound a little bit. I know your first Bronson movie was The Evil That Men Do, but
You're
you're
not going
kind
to
of
call me a
starting to
creep
sound
enabler, are you?
you're starting to kind of sound like the Teresa Saldana character right now.
Ah,
You're kind of
God.
like, well, I don't know why you have to do this, or
Mm-mm.
how can you do that? I
I'm
mean,
becoming a
Bronson
creep
was
enabler
there.
like Danny, aren't I?
Bronson was there to kill the creeps. He wasn't
Yeah.
there to make you feel good about yourself. He wasn't there to play friends and neighbors. He was there to take care of the creeps.
He's there to take. You're right. You're right.
And so, I
You're
mean,
right.
you're going a little Teresa Saldana on us right now. I'm just all I'm gonna say.
Bennett.
Kirsty was an exterminator.
Bennett had enough.
There you go.
Bennett has had enough with the creeps, and he shows Charles Bronson about the Browning machine gun, which I thought to myself, well, now you tell us. Like, why was he keeping that from him all the time? But yeah, Charlie says something interesting in this scene. He says, I don't know. A lot of people could get hurt. But then he buys a rocket launcher.
Yeah.
And when he does eventually come out on the balcony later with the machine gun, he doesn't seem concerned about anybody getting hurt.
No. He basically considers the creeps like the cockroaches, because you remember when he's talking about his rocket launcher later, he says, well, this thing here, you just got to make sure you get them bunched.
Yeah.
So you need a lot. If this thing's going to be useful, you got to have a lot of creeps in the same vicinity.
Got to get them bunched.
Then he gets laid. We say goodbye to Miss Davis. Her car blows up. He stops to get his mail. They put her in neutral and push her down the hill. The car is in an accident where both cars blow up, which I don't think is necessarily going to happen. So Ed Bronson looks sad for a second, and then he just kind of walks away.
And it's like, well, okay.
Well, something in him has changed. I mean, he has shared that with us. He shared his soul there with Deborah and said, hey, something in me has changed.
He's afraid
his acting.
to anyone.
It's like, listen, after the first movie, something in me changed, and it was, I need a paycheck, and I'm just not really showing up to act too much. I mean, I don't feel that way in Death Wish 4. I felt like he was having fun in Death Wish 4 a little bit. Death Wish 5, he was having a blast.
5, you can tell he's enjoying that.
Oh, he's having so much fun. But they blow up Bennett's shop.
Yeah.
And
that's
Bennett's shop. And they're holding him back. I don't know where he thought he was going to go.
Badly dubbed.
And Bennett, that's his real last straw. He goes and he gets the machine gun, and guess what? It doesn't work. So he winds up in the hospital where he gets a visit from Paul Kersey, where he lets him know, there's another one there. There's another gun, another machine gun.
Now, about Bennett, though, that was quite a fall he took off of that fire escape.
Right. And he lived because he's tough. He was wearing that hat.
Yeah.
So he says, blow the scum away. And where did Paul Kersey go? He
Yeah.
goes out the biggest hospital window I've ever seen in my life. And if you notice, I was really paying attention today. Above it, it says fire exit. So there was a fire escape there too. And of course, he wasn't handcuffed or being held with Ed Lauder's character, Stryker. He just got to go in by himself and he disappeared.
I liked how he went out and immediately hailed a taxi.
Yes.
You know, because earlier in the movie, I remember when I first saw that, I thought it was kind of cool that he gave the taxi driver $20 to like go drive out on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Hey,
They
Cabby,
made kind of a
$20
big deal out of it. I wonder if that's something he did pretty much every time. Like, I wonder if the guy, taxi, I wonder
Right.
if that guy got an extra $20 to like, drive on the sidewalk.
Could you do that, what you just did, Middleburg, that impersonation one more time?
Oh, which one?
From the given $20.
Oh, you guys, hey, Cabby, $20 to get out of there. Yes, what? Hey, Cabby, $20, get out of here. You're like, thanks, Mac.
Thanks, man.
$20 if you shave 2 seconds off of this cab ride.
Right. Right. So he goes
$20.
He goes back to his favorite mailbox place and picks up his rocket launcher now. Which, could you imagine this film if Amazon had been around? It would have been about 10 minutes long. He would have had that stuff there.
Yeah, prime.
Wildy would have been there a lot quicker.
It was when Mandy Fraker gets on the phone, and I guess he calls like the Street Creeps Union Hall for more guys. Like, I don't know, where do you call? Is there like a Union Hall or Street Creeps?
He
I always
called-
ordered that too.
Yeah, he calls for more guys.
He called a temp agency.
We see Rodriguez's temp agency. Well, when they show up, they are the most generic looking, like white biker people. The people that he calls in.
There
We
was
see-
one big black guy biker too.
Oh,
There
yeah.
was. There
With the
was.
cigarettes rolled up in his sleeve?
Well, the movie was about diversity, really, more than anything. More than anything.
I think I think diversity was its strength.
This movie was the first rainbow flag, the Rainbow Coalition. There was a time where hanging a Death Wish 3 poster on your door was the same as like hate does not belong here.
Yeah.
Sign in your yard.
Doesn't exist in this mojo.
Right. People are like, Death Wish 3 poster in the window. This must be some screaming eme liberal.
I always thought that Fraker might be.
What? Gay?
Does he have a girlfriend?
Well, no, but he doesn't have
You
time.
see him with a woman in this movie?
No. But
There's
you
one
don't
with
see
the way they make the
Fraker.
phone
You don't
call.
see really Fraker with. Well, you see him on a corner with one once.
Well, even Bronson takes time out for a quickie.
Well, wait a second. What if Stryker is? You got a problem with that?
Fraker.
No, Stryker. You
We
said
know
Stryker.
We
Oh, you
know
think Fraker? You
You're
think
talking about
Fraker is?
not
Wait, you think Fraker is?
Stryker's a Butch John, man.
Oh, Fraker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fraker.
you might be right with that haircut. And,
Yeah.
and who knows what that symbol really means, you know what I mean?
I think him and Barbie were lovers because remember how she acted there at the end? I think
Yeah.
she
She
they had
doesn't
a
respond.
connection.
She doesn't respond to I'm flexing my tricep. She doesn't respond to my DMs, but I don't know what she would have to say anyway. So he calls it the guys. Bronson comes out on the balcony, starts blowing the guys away. And I feel like this is a 3-part like opera of or symphony of just violence. There's like he's like shooting people, blah 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 blah, and then it becomes like Magnificent Seven, where the old people are fighting back, and then it's like then he's with Rodriguez. Rodriguez is carrying the ammo. The cops finally show up. There's and then I feel like there's if you watch it, it's like there's parts where it seems to slow down a bit, and then Stryker shows up and it seems to kick off again. Like watch that final scene. That it seems like it's a 3-parter. Like it starts off with just Bronson coming out on the balcony. Then you got, I think next is when they pull the chain and the bikers go down. Well, no, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. You see the Caprob's very happy. He's shooting the creeps.
Because he just shot some of the Crips.
Charles Bronson with Rodriguez is carrying the box of ammo, and they run out of ammo. That's the end of Act One. And they they like basically the whole set for the movie starts getting burned down. We see the black woman's boobs that she's about to get raped, but Bronson saves her. Bennett's happy. You see Bennett all happy watching the whole neighborhood burn down. Then they pull the chain on the gang. Then it's like Magnificent Seven, all the old guys. And after the old guys come out and shoot all the guys, children come out into the street and start dancing in the blood.
I thought they done a musical number there.
Yeah. Guy gets the knife to his head with that. Well, I don't know if Paul Kersey did that contraption or not.
Yeah, who planted that one?
I don't know. I think we don't see that he was teaching. Yeah, he must have been teaching a class down at the Learning Annex.
Well, you mentioned Magnificent Seven. He was teaching people how to shoot, so he must have taught somebody how to build that contraption with the nail and all.
Right.
You know, basically the nail.
It was on YouTube. It went viral.
Rodriguez saves the day with the zip gun, and I feel like something else kicks off.
That was a great moment.
Stryker shows up. I owed you that, dude.
Oh, and then now you've got like the best scene of the whole movie. Right,
now you got Stryker. You got Stryker and Kersey. Bear with me.
That's when that music kicks back.
Oh, the music.
Oh, that music.
Oh.
Just when you think it's slowing down, it's just.
And when they team up, it is just beautiful.
Like 5 minutes of awesomeness.
5 minutes of awesomeness. Kersey runs out of bullets. He goes back to his apartment. Shit, what the hell is going to happen? Breaker shows up. What is going to happen? Bronson's out of bullets. What's he going to do? Well, you guys might remember he did purchase a rocket launcher earlier. And it just happens to be behind a coffee table.
But what about Fraker's bulletproof vest? Is it not going to stop a rocket launcher?
Bulletproof asshole.
Bulletproof asshole.
Just like yours.
Just like yours.
Yes.
He said, well, bulletproof. He grabs that rocket launcher from behind the coffee table with the American flag hanging there. So beautiful. And he blows him away, and there's a giant hole in the apartment complex. And him and Fraker walk over and just look at it. And then Stryker says something like, I'll buy you a few minutes or something. Yeah. And then he just walks down the street with his suitcases.
Hey, how did everybody know that burning, whatever that was? You remember how there's like a little burning, look, I guess it's supposed to be Fraker's body down on the ground.
Yes, that was Fraker's body. Yeah.
Barbie Wild, Barbie gets up and screams. It's like everybody within 3 blocks somehow knows that Fraker has just been taken out.
Yes.
Can someone explain this one to me? Like, it's just a really Bennett's shop blew up for like 5 minutes. Why didn't anybody think Fraker had been taken out then? Why is it only when the whole story of the building gets blown up that people think it's Fraker?
I think they watched him go in there. One, they watched him go in there, so they knew it was him coming through the building. 2, it's a canon movie, and you're not really supposed to think about it.
Again,
could have been a gas leak.
The screenwriter.
Let me tell you guys something. Buczynski brand.
Yeah.
See this? Look at that. It's got Fraker on it. Death Wish 3. I got a whole thing of Death Wish 5 Pogs.
Yeah.
I got Breakout sticker. That's like got that mirror type, like those old 70s stickers you would get in the machines.
Yeah, I like that.
What else comes with the I should have brought more of the stuff.
I showed you the
Shadow's Land.
Shadow's Land.
Majestic Melon.
Majestic Melons. You get all this. You send them $5. You ask for a packet. You get a packet of Charles Bronson stuff. The official product of This Week in Charles Bronson. I said that, but I know he does this. He does this for Hard Times guys too, I believe, or he's trying to. So I said to him, no, you're our official guy. But he said, well, I got to make money where I get my shit out there where I can. I took back the money part because I really don't think he makes money because I can't imagine how he makes money. You get with the stuff you get in the mail is like
high quality.
It's high quality. It's like for $5 you can't beat it. But he's back on. He was out of commission there for a little bit. He was busy moving, but he's back. So look out for him. And anybody got you guys got anything you want to drop? Anything you guys want to
Oh,
plug before you go?
Eric, if he
Yeah,
sends you a box of cannoli, don't eat them.
I won't. I will not. I don't trust him when it comes to that.
My favorite thing that I've got the Chatto's Land right here on my door handle here coming into this office here.
Mhm.
But on my refrigerator, I've got the magnet, which is Charles Bronson, Mr. Majestic in the
Yeah.
mugshot, and it says "Live, Laugh, Love" on it.
Yes. Oh, I should have
I
put that
love
on my.
that one.
I should have put that on my fridge. I actually used some tape and stuck it up my desk at work. Oh wow, yeah. He's a great dude, and he's gonna help us design some merch. I just need to have the money to get the merch made and all that, but we'll figure it all out. But
Is he anonymous or would he come on the show?
he doesn't want to be on the show.
He
He's
likes
I know his real name. But yeah, he's being anonymous. He doesn't want to come on the show.
Banksy.
He's just
Banksy.
what?
Is it Banksy?
Banksy, yes.
Banksy.
His name is
Don't say it.
his name is Kathleen Wilhoit.
Ah,
I've got this new client who
legends.
what's interesting about him is he has been in some movies and stuff, and we were talking the other day, and I was sharing with him how much I love Charles Bronson. He said, "You won't believe this. Let me show you this picture." He says, "When anytime anybody asks me who my dad is, I show them this picture." And it was the picture of Charles Bronson, Jill Ireland walking down the sidewalk in Violent City, where
Right.
Bronson almost looks like Popeye. He's sticking
Yeah.
out so much. The guy he has that picture on his phone. He says anytime anybody asks him who his dad was, he shows them that picture.
Oh, have him on. Let's have him on.
He actually has done some doubling for Sam Elliott, and there's a movie that was made here in Little Rock this year called Crescent City, and the stars of it are Alec Baldwin, Esai Morales, and the guy from Hustle and Flow, Terrence Howard,
Yeah.
and Nikki Whalen, and he's in that movie. I mean, it's just a bit part, it's like a counseling session that he's a part of, but
Right.
it was kind of interesting, meeting him the other day and him showing me some of that, and he's been in a couple like music videos and stuff too. So
Well, that's cool. That's cool. I like, I'd like to see us get back to like some more of these fun episodes. I love what we've been doing with Lindsay Ireland and Robert F. Lyons, and I, I have a lot of emails that have been given to me of people that I can reach out to. I'll talk to you guys about that off the air, but I'd like to do a few more of these. We got to get back with Check, do Stone Killer.
Hey, Lance.
John C. Bronson from our Facebook page wants to do telethon, and and then we'll get back. We will get K-Lens for you, Chris. Chris, you're on that.
Speaking of K-Lens, Strip to Kill, awesome movie.
yeah, I remember seeing that, and her and Greg Evigan are in that one together.
That is proof that she elevates any movie she's in.
Yeah. That's going to be the name of my autobiography, Strip to Kill. Strip to the waist.
I did talk to the Hard Times guys, and they expressed some openness to possibly doing a crossover episode with
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. I talked to them about it before, but I didn't know because I'm not really like in touch with them too all. I didn't know if they were like dug us or not, or if they were cool with us or not. But that's great.
Oh no,
awesome.
they're very cool with us. They listen.
We do two different things with
They listen to our stuff.
Yeah, great, good, because those guys are great. And honestly, I joke around about, hey, we're the best and all that, but honestly, there's no wrong path to bronze lightning. You know what I mean?
We're open to all methods
Right,
and paths
right.
of Bronson awareness.
Right. We hope that you listen to us too, but we support our brothers and sisters in Bronson.
But I feel like we're the Golden
Peace
Globus.
be with you. What?
We're the Golden Globus of Bronson.
We're the Harlem Globetrotters.
Harlem Globetrotters. Hey, Brad, I'm glad your friend survived being on a movie set with Alec Baldwin.
Now listen, he told me he's the one actor he didn't meet. He really liked Esai Morales. He really and he had some
he's
really
great.
good things
I like
to say
him
about
too.
Terrence Howard as well. But He did not actually get to meet Alec Baldwin. So
Terrence Howard is on the show Empire, and our boy
Mhm.
Jesse Dabson was on Empire.
oh yeah, that's right.
The links to the Bronson multiverse are endless.
Now, did Jesse ever get to meet Scotty Moore?
Did you meet Scotty? Did you meet Scotty Moore? So I can impersonate Chris, but only doing that. Did you meet Scotty? Did you meet Scotty Moore?
Hey, that guy's gone now.
Scotty Moore?
No, that guy's gone now.
Jesse, because you're sober, you don't ask people if they met Scotty Moore. That doesn't make
I
any
can't
sense.
even watch that episode.
You were fine. Really? Is it? Well, let's get you on another. Well, you're on this one, but let's get you on with another big time celeb. You know?
All right.
All right.
Well, Miss Kaylins.
Yeah, we're gonna get you on a date. We're gonna branch it. This show's gonna branch out into Bronson dating, Bronson fan dating. All right, guys, you've been listening to This Week in Charles Bronson. I want to thank Brad Crane,
Death Wish Movies,
Chris Manson with his song, and David, Mr. Majestic Middleberg, and of course Danny, the Teenage Heartthrob Cats. Take us out. Pick up the guitar. Take us out, even though we can't hear
Good to
it.
see you, David.
Yeah, there we go.
Death Wish Movies, Death Wish Movies, Death Wish Movies, Death Wish Movies,
Death Wish 2.
Death Wish Movies,
It's a sleazy stew. I remember that. Death Wish 2.
Rider on the rain.
Rider.
Not radiant, Michael Winner.
You know, there was something. Oh, I know what I wanted to sing on this episode. The Giggler was also in The Last Dragon. To the beat of the rhythm of the night, dancing to the morning light. Forget about the moment on your mind. You can leave it all behind. The rhythm of the night. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Whoa. We can't hear his harmonica either. Boy, Zoom is weird. All right, guys. Good night. Love you.
Good night, guys. It's fun.
Take it easy.